Hello and welcome back to my humble show. I'm your host for tonight and every other night, the Articulate Thinker. Hopefully, here to bring you art articles and articulation straight from Articulation Station. So be sure to like, subscribe, and enjoy the ride. Don't forget to turn on those bell notifications while you're at it. This is going to be a short show because I gotta go to bed. I am dead in the head. I know it has been a few days since I've recorded a show, but yeah, I've been running on less than 4 hours of sleep per night, and I gotta get right. So I'm gonna get right into this show, which is primarily about the 3 Marines who died in a crash in Australia just the other day. Well, their names have been released here, as you can see by the headline of the Washington Examiner. Marines killed in Australia aircraft crash identified. So before I read into that, I want to briefly brush over a few topics which I have been meaning to tackle. Like I said, over the last few days, I just haven't had the time and the energy to cover the news. I have been uploading onto my Articulate Thinker News Clips channel, so get it while the getting's good. I even recorded a short monologue today about Donald Trump's latest indictment, and more specifically, his mugshot. Yeah. But something I was listening to today, which I would highly recommend to you, is this. I'm just going to show you what you're looking for. Gold Star Dad issues a direct message to Biden officials, generals, resign. That's just the title of the video from Fox News. But the gist of it is, House Foreign Affairs Committee members hold a roundtable with Gold Star families of service members killed in the Abbey Gate attack in Kabul 2 years ago. So yeah, in the middle of the 2-year anniversary of the fall of Kabul and Afghanistan as a whole, all that happened there, and all that is continuing to happen or not happen, courtesy of a very, very corrupt Biden administration. Corrupt, if you ask me. The families are finally getting a chance to speak for themselves. And they are doing just that. They are speaking up. They are speaking out against the Biden administration specifically. I can't blame them. There were many, many issues with the withdrawal, botched as it was. But yeah, a very emotional hearing. There was one a matter of weeks ago. Very similar. Most of the same parents there. But yeah, I'm not going to play it. It's 3 hours long, as you can see here. Well, you may not be able to see that, but very lengthy. I was listening to it while I was at work, and just wanted to run it by you. I think one of the last things I talked about here on this channel was this. Speaking of the latest indictment of Donald Trump, Fani Willis questioned 2020 election in Facebook posts. What ballots are they throwing out? She asked. So this is an article from Trending Politics from the 25th. Yeah, not breaking news at this point, but I didn't really break it in the first place. I was on a lunch break one day talking about the indictment, talking about Fani Willis just a bit, and I think I mentioned how some photos had been discovered which portrayed her obvious political bias as a Democrat. And hey, to each their own, but I think there's a clear motive behind her quest, her conquest, her conquering conquest to prosecute Donald Trump. But again, I don't have time to go through this, react to it. So I'm just going to leave it sitting for a while, and maybe I'll cover it another time. But yes. Yes. This is what we're dealing with these days. Speaking of presidential candidates, well, I saw this amusing headline just yesterday. Eminem sends Vivek Ramaswamy cease and desist to stop performing Lose Yourself while campaigning. Let me know in the comments below if you saw that video of Vivek Ramaswamy performing, shall I say, Lose Yourself, or at least a portion of it. He also said that it was his favorite song as of late. I can see how that might get him hyped up. I've also heard that he used to be a bit of a rapper when he was younger. He didn't sound all that legit when he was performing Lose Yourself. But hey, it has been a while. He is a good piano player, though. I'll give him that. Yeah. But likewise, I'm going to leave this sitting. Here's something else from the National Archives. Or wait. The publication here itself is just the news, but yes, National Archives acknowledges 5,400 Biden pseudonym emails faces lawsuit for their release. So, of course, it was recently discovered that Joe Biden had not just one, but 3 different pseudonyms from which he had emailed, including emails which Hunter Biden was essentially tagged in. Well, yes, Congress has reached out and requested, shall I say, demanded to know more about these emails and the extent of them used under the pseudonym, of course, or shall I say, emailed under the pseudonym. And there are apparently 5,400 more of those emails. And hopefully they will be able to get their hands on those in as unredacted of a form as possible, so we can know whether or not there is anything to all of this. I feel like common sense would lead one to believe that why else would he be using a pseudonym, a fake name essentially, except for in order to hide something. What exactly? I don't know. Could it have something to do with Burisma? Viktor Shokin? He has been doing some interviews lately. I would like to see him and hear him testify in front of Congress. I don't know about you, but yeah, I think that would be a bit productive. Whether or not he's an honest man, well, we know that the Bidens are not honest men. So, expose all the corruption. Unrelated to politics, well, at least in the federal sense. I'm not even going to say the name here, but this is about the shooting which took place in Jacksonville a few days ago. Racially motivated shooting. My apologies for all of the ads here on the Daily Mail website. They always have ads everywhere. But as for the headline, and you can read the name. It's right there on the screen, but I'm not going to read it. At least not when I'm just skimming over this. Seen on video entering Jacksonville Dollar General to start mass shooting that killed 3 people in racially motivated attack. 21 years of age, has been identified as the white gunman who shot dead 3 black people at a Florida Dollar General store on Saturday. He used an assault rifle covered in Nazi swastikas in the assault on Saturday before turning the gun on himself, according to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. The shooter lived in Clay County with his parents and sent a manifesto which detailed his racial hatred to them, the police, and media. I also heard that there were 3 different manifestos. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it was 1, 2, or 3. A lot of people were on social media talking in a way that would suggest that the manifesto or manifestos had been released. It was compared to the Nashville, Tennessee shooting, saying as how that manifesto has not yet been released. You know, the transgender shooter. Two different situations, different sets of regulations. I want to say that I heard that people, family members, parents of the kids, for example, who were murdered in Nashville, Tennessee, had requested that the manifesto in that shooting not be released to the public. So I don't know if that was a setback. I know the state had originally planned to release it, but it never happened, and some people have their complaints. And if there is nothing actually holding it back, well, I have my complaints as well. I'm just saying. This just happened, and I don't even believe that the manifesto has been released. It's just that a lot of people were talking as though it had been. There was just a brief reference to it by law enforcement, etc. Okay, a couple of images of the shooter and a video, 25 seconds long. I'm not going to play that. So one of the victims right here, Angela Carr. One of the victims right here, Gerald Dejon Gallion. And this guy here, I believe, was a victim as well. No, that is the same guy. That is the same guy. Okay. But there are other victims in the vehicle. A few more images here. And here is the shooter. I'm just showing you this because I intended to cover this at the time, but it didn't happen. But yes, I'm not sure who the third deceased victim is, why there is no image. But that's one article. So here's another article about a separate shooting which took place a couple of days later. Victim identified, suspect charged in fatal UNC Chapel Hill shooting. Ziji Yan, an associate professor, served as an academic advisor to the graduate student alleged to have killed him. The shooter in this case is still alive. And there was a lockdown for multiple hours there at the university. This was happening while I was at work one day, and I was trying to keep up with the news as best I could. It was a bit chaotic for a while, but yes, this man here was killed. Member of the faculty. And this man here, graduate student, was the shooter. A different racial dynamic here. I'm not sure exactly what the motive was, and I'm going to leave this pulled up for later so that I can catch up on the news more thoroughly. But yes, on to this news. The news about the 3 Marines. Not 13 in this case. 3. By 13, of course, I'm referring to what happened in Afghanistan. 3 U.S. Marines died as a result of the helicopter crash off the coast of Australia. 3 U.S. Marines died Sunday in a helicopter crash off the coast of northern Australia while transporting troops during a routine military exercise. The incident was reported by officials. 5 others were transported to Royal Darwin Hospital in serious condition, according to a press release from the Marine Rotational Force in Darwin. The U.S. military dead were among 23 Marines who were on the MV-220B Osprey helicopter when it crashed, the release noted. So everyone else survived, I guess. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese called the incident tragic, recalling that the Osprey was participating in the Predator's Run 2023 military exercise. According to the head of the Australian government, no Australian servicemen were injured in the crash. About 2,500 servicemen from the United States, Australia, the Philippines, Indonesia, and East Timor are taking part in the exercise. Last month, during a major exercise involving both countries, 4 Australian soldiers were killed when their helicopter crashed into the coast. Or shall I say into the ocean off the coast of the Australian state of Queensland. And there's this video, various videos, all very similar, going around of this helicopter presumably losing control before the crash. I haven't seen a video of the actual crash, but I haven't had a lot of time to look for it. That was a tweet by Nexta_TV from a couple of days ago, the 27th. Here's a more recent article from earlier in the day today with an image of the 3 soldiers. 3 Marines. Bodies of 3 U.S. Marines killed in Australia retrieved from crash site. 3 of the 20 survivors remained in Royal Darwin Hospital on Tuesday, 1 in critical condition and 2 stable, a Marine statement said. I might use this as a screenshot, as a thumbnail, I should say. Let me move my face over out of the way. Still in the way a bit. Let me turn. Okay, I was just posing. Okay, that looks too forced. Posing for a thumbnail. I know. This isn't about me. Alright, so yes. 3 of the 20 remaining survivors in Royal Darwin Hospital on Tuesday, 1 in critical condition and 2 stable, a Marine statement said. I'll enlarge this text for you. And just so you know, from left, Corporal Spencer R. Colbert, Captain Eleanor V. Labou, and Major Tobin J. Lewis. The bodies of 3 U.S. Marines killed in the tiltrotor aircraft crash during a training exercise in Australia were retrieved from the crash scene, while another Marine remained in critical condition, the Marine Corps said Tuesday. Those killed were from Illinois, Virginia, and Colorado. The Marine V-22B Osprey, with 23 Marines on board, crashed Sunday in tropical forest on Melville Island while taking part in Exercise Predator's Run, a drill that includes the militaries of Australia, Indonesia, the Philippines, and East Timor. All 20 survivors were injured and were flown by rescue aircraft 80 kilometers south to the city of Darwin within hours of the crash. 3 of those Marines remained in Royal Darwin Hospital on Tuesday, 1 in critical condition and 2 stable, a Marine statement said. Up to 2,500 U.S. Marines have been based in Darwin for 6 months, a year since 2012, as part of the U.S. military pivot to Asia to counter China's growing influence in the region. Colonel Brendan Sullivan, commanding officer of the Marine Rotation Force Darwin, said the Marines focus on supporting the recovery of wreckage and investigating the cause. I'm sorry if I'm completely losing the script here. I'm just exhausted, and I don't know. I may delete this show. Three casualties had been declared dead at the crash site, and the bodies were returned to Darwin late Tuesday, a statement said. And I think I skipped a sentence. We are deeply saddened by the loss of three respected and beloved members of the MRFD family, Sullivan said in a statement. Our thoughts and prayers remain with the families and with all involved, Sullivan added. The three killed were Osprey pilot Captain Eleanor Leigh Bew, 29 years of age, originally from Bellevue, Illinois; Corporal Spencer R. Cullert, 21, from Arlington, Virginia; and Major Tobin J. Lewis, 37 years of age, from Jefferson, Colorado. All were based in Darwin. The names of the injured had not been released. President Joe Biden also offered his condolences to their families. Jill and I send our deepest condolences to their families, the families of the Marines who lost their lives in this deadly crash, Biden tweeted, referring to his wife, Jill Biden. We are praying for those who also suffered injuries. The Osprey is a hybrid aircraft that takes off and lands like a helicopter, but during flight can tilt its propellers forward and cruise much faster like an airplane. Before Sunday, there had been 5 fatal crashes of Marine Ospreys since 2012, causing a total of 16 deaths. That's just the Ospreys. I've heard of some other military crashes, training crashes. Just recently, in fact. I think I covered a couple of them on my old channel, my other channel, where I used to record my shows. 3 Marines were killed when an Osprey plunged into the Coral Sea off Australia's northeast coast in 2017. The remaining 23 people on board were rescued. So that's just one of various references there. Had a couple more articles pulled up. Might just give them a speed read, though I can't even think fast right now. That last article was from NBC News, and this is the one I showed you earlier. Washington Examiner, Marines killed in Australia aircraft crash identified. I'll see if there's anything missing. I mean, anything that I've missed thus far. Marine Corps has and will deploy about 2,000 Marines and sailors to Darwin, Northern Territory, Australia for 6 months from April to October of this year as part of Australia's U.S. Force Posture initiatives. While in Darwin, the unit supports a series of exercises and training events with the Australian Defence Force and other allies and partners in the Indo-Pacific to maintain a forward-postured contingency response force, enhance interoperability between forces, and strengthen the Australian-U.S. alliance and security partnership, the Marine Corps said in a statement. That same image, once again, and their names, once again. And there was this other article from a couple of days ago, this one from the 27th, before the names were known. 3 Marines killed after Osprey aircraft crashes in Australia. And in it, this Marine Rotational Force press release was linked. I might pull it up just to see if there was anything reported originally that isn't in any of the articles, which I just pulled up. Just a basic statement. MRF-D MV-22B Osprey tilt rotor aircraft crash. Marine rotational force. I really can't talk at all. Marine rotational force. Darwin can confirm a U.S. Marine Corps MV-22B Osprey crash on Melville Island, north of Darwin, Northern Territory, Australia, while transporting troops during a routine training exercise. The incident took place at approximately 9:30 a.m. There were a total of 23 personnel on board. 3 have been confirmed deceased, while 5 others were transported to Royal Darwin Hospital in serious condition, with some improvements, obviously. The Marines aboard the aircraft were flying in support of Exercise Predators Run. Recovery efforts are ongoing. The cause of the incident is under investigation. Further details will be provided as the situation develops. Okay, so if more information comes out about the cause of the crash, I'll try to cover that. And while I'm at it, I might as well just say, yeah, there is a possibility that I will just delete the show altogether. Let me know in the comments below what you think, what you know. Feel free to disagree with me on anything I've said. Haven't really said anything controversial. Maybe a couple of things at the beginning of the show, but because I got to go to bed, I didn't want to get too caught up in my head. If I end up deleting this, I'll cover it again later, I suppose, once there is more to report on. But either way, I just wanted to upload something because it has been a few days, and well, I'm going to sleep like a baby now for just a few hours. Yeah, peace.